What's up, shit? Timmers here. Now, I just talked about my favorite Amazon films of the year. Now is time for my worst, like my list of the top 10 worst. And like I said, throughout the whole list, I admit, Amazon really had more worst movies this year than Netflix. I mean, looking through like Netflix filmography this year and looking through Amazon's filmography this year, even if you did not like some of the stuff that Netflix put out, you could actually can't deny that some of the stuff Netflix put out, even some of the ones you don't like from them, they were actually more better than some of the stuff Amazon put out. So, but here are my top 10 worst movies Amazon put out this year. Number 10 is actually the only one that, I actually saw in theirs here because they actually did do a direct release of this one. Number 10 is After the Hunt. I was really looking forward to see this one. It's directed by Luca Guadagnino, who's put out some good stuff, like, Challengers he did, Call Me By Your Name. He's put out some really good stuff I've enjoyed. Every good director has a bad name in The Office. Steven Spielberg had The Terminal. Uh, Martin Scorsese had some bad day in The Office and stuff. This will definitely be Luca's bad day in The Office. This thing was now, I would admit the performances in this, like Julie Roberts, of course, did scored a Golden Globe nomination for this. I had no complaints because Julie Roberts was excellent here. Ira DeBerry, which by the way, not a good year for her. Between this, Opus, uh, Ella McKay, not the best year she had out this year, but Andrew Garfield was actually pretty decent. But the movie itself just wasn't so good. It wanted to be like a movie that's catered to with the Me Too movement and stuff. I don't mind that. Like, if you want to be a little preachy with that stuff, I don't mind that. But give it a better story. Like, give it a better film and dialogue and stuff. But it is what it is, I guess. Number 9 is one I was really looking forward to see because I do love Eddie Murphy. So, but number 9 is The Pickup. I love Eddie Murphy. I like Pete Davidson. You got Andrew Dice Clay in this, Ava Longoria. This could have been something really good. It just wasn't that funny. Like Andrew, it was cool. Like some of the stuff Andrew Dice Clay had in this was pretty hilarious. But man, you had like Eddie Murphy and Andrew Dice Clay in this one. It should have been a home run. It should have been hilarious. Wasn't all that funny. I mean, some of the stuff that Eddie Murphy put out, like daycare and stuff, that was actually more funnier than this. So yeah, and you got Kiki Palmer, who I like, but even she couldn't was enough to save us. And also, Ava Longoria needs a new agent because I got like 2 Ava Longoria movies on this list. Pickup and another one that I'll talk about here a bit. Number 8 is The Map That Leads to You. Of course, this is directed by the same director who gave us What's Eating Gilbert Grape, starring KJ Apa from Riverdale fame, Madeline Klein from Outer Banks fame. It could have been interesting. It wasn't so good. It of course stars like Madeline Klein, who plays this young woman traveling to Europe, with friends before like starting her perfect plan life here, and she meets like this European guy named Jack and starts like an unexpected romance with him. And the chemistry with KJ Apa and Madeline Klein was pretty decent. I will give it that. It just wasn't all that good. It was boring at times. You know, not great dialogue. I mean, it just wasn't so good. And it has people in it I do quite appreciate. But speaking of Riverdale, by the way, number 7 is another film of the year that stars a former Riverdale star. And that is, let me just say, Madeline Petch needs a new agent. Yeah, between Strangers and this, yeah, she really needs a new agent badly. But number 7 is Maintenance Required. I mean, I had some hopes for this one because I do like Madeline Klein. It also has the guy from Bad Boys, Jacob Scapio was in this. Katie O'Brien, you had Madison Bailey, Jim Gaffigan pops up in this. But holy cow, this thing just was not. It really felt like it was supposed to be a Hallmark movie, but Hallmark said no, and so Amazon picked this one up. You know, the dialogue just is terrible. It's just so cheesy. Obviously, very predictable. You definitely know what's going to happen towards the end. I mean, it really felt like You've Got Mail, but with Gen Zers. It just felt like a You Got Mail ripoff, and yeah, not so good there. All right, number 6. Now, number 6 and 5, I'm just gonna go. saying all one stuff because they both are directed by Tyler Perry. Number 6 is Tyler Perry's Finding Joy, and number 5 is Tyler Perry's Duplicity. Both are not so good. I did not mind Tyler Perry's recent Netflix movies he did this year, like The Medea, Destination Wedding. Of course, I did do my top 10 favorite Netflix films of 2025, and Tyler Perry Straws in that list. But his Amazon movies this year was not the same bet. Finding Joy was just a terrible Christmas movie that I did not really care much for the characters for. Duplicity, really tried to be a little edgy, tried to be a little suspenseful thriller here. Both are just terrible, terrible dialogues, terrible characters. I mean, yeah, it's a shame too because Duplicity do have some folks in it I like. You do got Kat Krem, who I've always liked thanks to Vampire Diaries and stuff. Finding Joy, I did not really know much about the actors involved, so I can't really say that there too. But if you want to see a better Tyler Perry Christmas movie, just watch Medea's Christmas. That is the better one. But anyway, number 4 is Play Dirty. Now, I was actually looking forward to see this. It's directed by Shane Black, who I did not mind his Predator movie. But, Shane Black also did put out other stuff like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, The Nice Guys. I had some hopes for this one. It's just not so good. I mean, the best part about it is Lakeith Stanfield. If this whole movie just centered on Lakeith Stanfield's character, I think it would have been a better film. But of course, it is based on the story on the Parker books, which they did adapt before with Jason Statham, which that is the better film, really. But yeah, the act, and by the way, Mark Wahlberg is also going to need a new agent. He has like 1 but 3 movies this year that was not so good. And yeah, Play Dirty just isn't one of them. It's just really terrible, terrible characters here. The only redeeming quality is Lakeith Stanfield, but other than that, yeah. Now they also tried to make it to be a comedy and stuff. It wasn't even all that funny. Although the end credits scene actually, the little fourth wall break scene, that actually did make me chuckle. But other than that, yeah, you're a bad film when the funniest part is the ending. Yeah. All right, number 3 is another one I really had some hopes for because I love Viola Davis. I like Anthony Anderson. Number 3 is G20. G20, of course, stars Viola Davis, who plays like the President of the United States, who must bring her spacecraft and military experience to defend her family and fellow leaders following some attackers here. And it had some really decent stuff going for it. You have Homelander himself as the villain. That piqued my interest. But I did not really care much for the characters here. The action wasn't all that appealing. The script wasn't great. I mean, I'm like, really, Viola, you're better than this. Like, you literally got an Oscar on your mantle. Like, she is far better than this. But it is what it is. And of course, I did like a Blackish reunion with Anthony Anderson and Marseille Martin. That was pretty cool. But other than that, not so good there. Number 2 is Holland. I know that has nothing to do with Tom Holland. Of course, Holland stars Nicole Kidman, who's plays a teacher whose life with her husband in Holland, Michigan, pretty much tumbles into a twisted tale when like she and a colleague have like a suspicious secret here. And Nicole Kidman, like I love Nicole Kidman. She's also an Oscar winner, but even she wasn't enough to save this one. I mean, it's directed by Mimi Cave, who did a good job with that little movie on Hulu, Fresh, with Sebastian Stan. She did good with that. So I had some hopes for that because of that alone. This just was boring. Didn't care for the characters. Terrible twists and turns here. It's just, yeah, not so good. It just felt like just like how I mentioned how Maintenance Required, looks like a Hallmark movie that Hallmark passed up. This looks like a Lifetime movie that Lifetime passes up, but Amazon picked it up. It really had a little bit of a Lifetime feel to it. And let's get this out of the way. Number 1 worst movie Amazon put out this year is a movie that actually has Amazon products in it. And it's like a commercial for Amazon. And it's one of the worst things I have seen this whole year. This year, this week, I will be doing my top 10 worst movies of the year in general. Spoiler alert, this will be on that list. Not only is it the worst Amazon film of the year, it's also the worst movie of the year in general. Number 1 is War of the Worlds. Oh boy. It's so funny how Ice Cube actually had a cameo in the movie, not the movie, the TV show The Studio, and this looks like a movie that will be made from that will actually be made in the studio. It is god awful. It is horrible all around. It is terrible, terrible dialogue. The acting, like, it is of course based on a H.G. Wells story, and holy cow, this thing just not. The whole movie takes place on a webcam, which I don't mind. Like those screen type movies, like I liked Unfriended. Searching was pretty decent. But this thing just wasn't all that crack up to be. It was boring at times. Terrible script, terrible dialogue here. It is god awful, and yeah, this is actually a movie that's been in the pipeline since 2020, and they made this during the pandemic, so it took way too long for them to release this thing. But yeah, why they released this thing is still beyond me, but I have no idea why they even made this film. It just got awful. But that's pretty much it there. Here is my quick rundown. Number 10, After the Hunt. 9, The Pickup. 8, The Map That Leads to You. 7, Maintenance Required. 6, Tyler Perry's Finding Joy. 5, Tyler Perry's Duplicity. 4, Play Dirty. 3, G20. 2, Holland. And number 1 is War of the Worlds. Now, there are a few other ones I could have included. Let's see here. I did check out the movie Merv with Zoe Saldana. Not Saldana. With Zoe Deschanel. That actually wasn't bad, but wasn't anything to go by there. Let's see. I did not mind Play Date. That was actually one of the better ones here, to be honest. I did not care much for Deep Cover. There are people who like Deep Cover, but I wasn't one of them. Let's see. Picture This was so good. So yeah, hopefully, I don't know, maybe 2026 would be better, but we'll see. I will also be sometime next week, I will be talking about the Amazon movies coming out in 2026. So keep an eye out for that. But let me let you guys. What do you think is some of the worst movies Amazon put out this year? Draw comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Timmy signing out.